Chrissy, we do estate planning for people anywhere in the state of Florida. Wherever you live in the state of Florida, Olson Law Group can assist you with your estate planning. And I was meeting with a client last week, and she's got, a bit of a complex situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, in a sense, the more complex, the more she needs to be down here meeting with us and getting this done.
Exactly.
When as with all my clients, when we reached the end of our consult and we had agreed on what our action plan was, I prepare an action plan that she leaves here with it. That action plan tells her what we're going to do for her. It tells her what she needs to do, all for the purpose of avoiding probate. And her words were something, well, this is a lot, for me to do. And I'm saying, it's a lot for you to do, but it would be 10 times more work for your kids if you don't do anything and you leave it up to them. So I think most people are in agreement with us that they want to make things as simple and easy for their kids as they can.
So, Tom, thank you for saying that. And I want to add something. We hear this quite often. I want to just remind listeners, because it's not just here in Florida. I had a client just this past week where they were sharing with me how important it was to make sure that they were making things simple for their children. They were not going to go through probate with their things and making sure that everything was in order. Back to your point of, yes, there is some work to be done on the front end, because the husband of this couple has been dealing with probate in another state for a relative for a year and a half.
Oh, boy.
Okay. And they said, wow, this is a lot. And there's a lot to it. It takes a lot of time. There's again, enormous expense to it. So even on the front end, even though there's some time that's involved, and even though there's some legal documents that are involved, and even though there's some cost that's involved, that is all minimal compared to what it would be on the back end if these things were not done.
And so we're talking about avoiding probate at the Olson Law Group. We're all about helping people to avoid probate. We're talking in terms of making things simple, easy, inexpensive for your children when you pass away. People want that. But I'm going to throw in one more benefit, and that is this, is that by making it easy, simple, inexpensive for your kids when you pass away, there's a huge benefit, and that is your kids are not going to be fighting and arguing when mom and dad pass away.
Correct.
Way back in the day when I started law practice, very rare was it when kids would argue when mom or dad passed away. These days, there's a 50% chance that they're going to have some kind of argument between themselves, and another 20% chance some of them are never going to speak to each other again.
Exactly.
By working, getting this work done that we've just been speaking of while mom and dad are alive, it's an upfront, a little bit of work on the client's part, on Olson Law Group's part, but hey, we're going to make things simple, easy, and inexpensive, and the kids are not going to have an opportunity or a reason to argue with each other.
Correct. And children, we always refer to children because exactly like you said, Tom, there is more than a 50% chance that they are not going to get along nowadays. That's absolutely a given. However, this may also be just any other relatives.
Yeah.
So it's whoever things are going to, it's about making it simple for them and making sure that whether it's relatives, whether it's, again, other relatives, children, charities, or any combination thereof, it's about making things simple for those people, in particular, knowing that there's a high chance that any one or all of them may not agree.
And for example, your siblings, nieces, nephews, again, we're going to avoid probate, make it simple for them. But let me give the listeners one or two examples, okay? So easy ways to avoid probate. It's easy to avoid probate on your bank accounts, checking, savings, CDs, money markets, by going to the bank, credit union, investment company, keeping those accounts in your name only, but making them POD, payable on death to your kids or siblings or nieces and nephews. Mm-hmm. If you make your accounts POD and you pass away, the only thing they need to do is to show the bank or credit union or investment company your death certificate, and they will turn the money over to them, no probate required. Now, Is it the first one down to the bank gets all the money? No. Any one of those people can show the bank your death certificate. If you got 5 kids, they'll write 5 separate checks to the 5 kids. They don't even need to see each other to get their money.
Exactly.
Same thing is true for IRAs, retirement accounts, 401ks, life insurance. Make sure you've named your kids or siblings or nieces and nephews, the beneficiaries. And is it the first one that tells the life insurance company that mom has passed away gets all the money? No. Any one of them can show them the death certificate and they'll write separate checks to all of them. They don't even have to talk to each other to get their money.
Exactly.
Now, of course, we hope they will, but they don't have to. Now, that leaves us with one thing, and that is the home. Now, we have a great tool for avoiding probate on your home. It's called a ladybird deed. It states that as long as you're alive, it is your piece of property to do with as you please. But upon your death, we'll just say, for example, it goes equally to your 3 kids. Yeah, we're going to avoid probate, but yes, it will require your 3 children to work together and cooperate to decide whether they're going to keep it, sell it, rent it, buy each other out. And hopefully they, knowing that there's a pot of gold, once they sell the home, they'll all be motivated to work together. But sometimes the client might say, Tom, I got 3 kids. They all hate each other. How that's not going to work. How are we going to handle that? Well, you've got a perfect solution for that. Chrissy, tell the listeners.
Yes, we do. We have a perfect tool here at the Olson Law Group. In addition to the Ladybird deed, we would do what's called a land trust. The land trust would direct the instructions of what mom and dad want to be done with that house and who's in charge. That's what's really key here. So what we can do is, of course, all the kids would participate, all the kids, it goes equally to the children. What we're doing, though, is we are adding this land trust to ensure that there will, again, not be the fighting. So when families know that there are issues with people getting along and parents know that there's already issues with kids getting along, of course they want to keep it equal to all the kids, but we have the tools and the way to help them, once again, to avoid issues and problems and make it smooth. So there would be one child, for example, in charge in this land trust. They would be in charge to sell it, and then from there the money would be distributed equally to the children. Simple. Because if we leave the home to all the children directly in the deed, then it goes back to, Tom, what you said. They would all have to agree to whatever the conclusion is in order to execute and make it happen.
Now, we're on the subject of making things simple, easy, inexpensive for your kids when you pass away and helping them to avoid getting in arguments and with each other. And if you said, Tom, what do I care? I'm just going to pass away. I'm going to let my assets go through probate. I'll appoint my oldest son to be the executor, personal representative of my estate. What do I care? Well, if you let your estate go through probate, yes, we're talking time, attorney's fees, expensive, but it also is an opportunity for your oldest son now to settle old scores. He's in charge, and he's going to do things his way on his time frame. And so what does that mean? It means we're going to get a call at the Olson Law Group. It's going to go like this. Tom, my mom passed away a year ago. She named my oldest brother as the executive personal representative of my estate. Nothing's happening. I'm not hearing anything. I don't know what's going on. So now they're going to have to hire us to get involved to get this thing moving along.
Correct.
So, these are all great, wonderful reasons for you to come and see the Olson Law Group to get your affairs in order, get your estate planning done, and take all steps necessary to avoid probate, because that's what we're all about.
Exactly.
Yep.
Absolutely, Tom.